Hey guys, this is Sarah Elena, and I am back for another video about purchasing a property here in Costa Rica. So we work with, I would say, a fair amount of people that we work with do end up purchasing property, but maybe not too many. But it's a really important topic. I have people always inquiring about it. So this is part of a series that I've been doing for a while, I guess. I kind of did part one, kind of forgot it existed, did part two, not too long ago. And now we're going to go into part three. We're going to talk about the due diligence process of purchasing property here in Costa Rica. So for those of you who don't know me, I do help people move to Costa Rica, but I am not a real estate agent. I am not a real estate attorney. What I do in that case is, let's say it's time to purchase, I refer you to an attorney, or I can refer you to an agent that you can work with to help you look for options. But the thing is, too, about agents, let's say you find your own option, you're really going to need that attorney. That's who you need. You need a superstar attorney on your team whenever you're going to be purchasing property. And honestly, for most things here in Costa Rica. So I'm excited. We're going to talk about the due diligence process. Maybe some of you guys have seen some of my past videos before, so you know what this is. There we go. We're taking out our handy dandy iPad, which we're going to be using to draw and write. So this would be a great time if you want to learn about the due diligence process of purchasing property. This is going to be a great time for you to go get a pen and paper. You can pause this. And if you have not watched part one and part two of this series, please go back and watch. So part one, I talked about things to consider in a property purchase for your property purchase. So that's a really important one. Part two, I talk about how to actually find the properties. And now part three, we're going to talk about, so what happens when you found the property and now you want to kind of move forward into that due diligence process. So I personally have bought 2 properties here and I've sold one, built homes. So we're actually going to talk about the due diligence process for a lot and also for a home. You'll see we kind of start off in one area and then we'll kind of break off and see some of the differences here. So let's pretend you're at the process where you found the property that you're really excited about. Your next kind of step would be you make an offer. So you make an offer to the owner. Maybe you negotiate back and forth a little bit. Just kind of went through this with a client, not really a client of mine, but someone who's buying a property in my neighborhood, kind of helping them out with it. Let's say you guys reach an agreement on the price. Now it's time to start the due diligence process. So what you would do then is you're going to reach out to your lawyer. Well, first, I think I talked a little bit about pre-due diligence in another video. What I would do before even making an offer is I would make sure that the property is kind of viable for what I want to do. And I've talked about that in past videos. I have one video about the entire overview of a property purchase process. Go look at that video so you can hear kind of more what I talk about the pre-due diligence process. What I would do for that, okay, we'll just talk about it now. What I would do for that real quick is I would get the property title, get the plano, the what do you call it? The property survey. Sorry, I know what it is in Spanish, but I don't remember in English. So what I would do is get the property title from the owner, ask them for the plano, which is the property survey, and then I would, if it was a lot, I would verify personally that it has electricity there on site, registered water on site. Those would probably be the main things that I would ask for the uso del suelo, the use of the soil. So those are the things that I would ask for in pre-due diligence. So let's actually write that down. So I'm going to call this pre-due diligence. This is before even making an offer. I would do. This is what I always did. I'm going to call this pre-due diligence. Because if some of these things don't pan out, I'm not going to want to make an offer on that property. So one, title check. So that would mean my lawyer is looking up the title in the National Registry, making there's no liens against the property, there's not someone trying to claim it or some legal problem, making sure that it's properly registered, all that good stuff. So they're going to be doing the title check. I'm going to look at the property survey, especially if it's a lot. I want to see, okay, what can I do with it? How big is it really? Where are the things there? Then I'm going to want to look at the uso del suelo. So this would let me know what I can and can't do with the property. So let's use an example. Let's pretend that, okay, it's a lot. Let's pretend it's a lot because we're going to break into lots and house here. So let's pretend it's a lot. I would want to know what I can and can't do with that property. So let's say I want to build apartments. And that property, actually, the uso del suelo, the use of soil, paper says that I can only build one family residence on that property. Then I'm going to go, oh, okay, this lot's not this isn't what I want to do. I don't want this lot because I can't build apartments. Just, again, we're just doing an example. Or let's say I wanted to build a 3-story home and the uso del suelo says I can only build a 2-story home. Then maybe I want to look for another lot. So that's why having the uso del suelo, if you're looking at lots, is important. Another thing, let's say you're buying a property that has a home, but there's more space to expand and build. Then I want to look at the uso del suelo to see, can I do, like let's say if I wanted to do an expansion or I wanted to build some more on the property, what percentage of the property can I build on? Can I still do what I want to do with that property even though it already has a home? Can I do the extra building that I want to do? So that's why the uso del suelo can be important if you're buying a home or if you're, have a lot. Also, the uso del suelo, let's say if you're buying a house, I guess you want to make sure that the person really did what they were only supposed to do on the property. If it says it was for a single residential family and you're buying, and the uso del suelo says it was just for a single residence and you're buying an apartment, you're like, wait, you're buying apartments. Like, this isn't single family residence. Maybe the person did something they weren't supposed to do. Who knows? I don't know. This is when lawyers come in. Again, I'm not a lawyer, so some of these things are going to go into lawyer territory. So uso del suelo, this would be part of my pre-due diligence. And then, like I said, electricity. I want to make sure we got electricity and water out there. So we got electricity, water. Again, electricity. Be wary if someone says, oh, no, the electricity's just down the street. You just got to put a few more poles in. It's no big deal. Make sure. How much does that actually cost? Because one of those poles could be thousands of dollars. How many poles do you need to reach your property? These things are important to consider. So don't always go based off of what someone's just going to tell you in that case. Okay, sometimes I have to pause these videos because I got stuff going on in my house. Okay, now let's say all that checks out. Yes, it was title check, property survey, uso del suelo, electricity, water. Cool. Okay, now if that checks out, then you're maybe going to be like putting in your offer. Yay, putting your offer. Let's say everyone's happy, everyone accepts, everyone settles on the price. Terms, conditions are all being settled. Let's say, who's going to pay the closing costs, yada, yada. Part 4 of the series is going to be about the closing. So we're just going to be focusing about due diligence today. So let's say now you put in the offer, the terms are all agreed upon. Your lawyer's going to be helping you with this. Perhaps your lawyer's going to be the one communicating with the owner or the owner's lawyer in order to negotiate all these items. But let's say everything's agreed upon. Now you're going to enter into, the real due diligence process. Sometimes due diligence can really the timing can depend on how prepared the owner is. Because a lot of these things the owner is going to have to prepare and give you. So sometimes you're kind of at the mercy. So in my experience, during one of my property purchases, the owner really didn't have anything. He wasn't prepared. I had to go out searching for some paperwork, which kind of blew my mind. I was like, do you not want to sell this? Like, this is crazy. But hey, Costa Rica is the way it is. Other owners that you'll work with are going to have like everything on a silver platter for you ready to go. That's how I was when I sold the house that I built. I had everything ready to go. Boom. Here you go. Look it over. We had all of our dies, all of our check marks checked. Everything was good. All right. So now what you're going to do is, another thing would be good. Now so you have these are still in your due diligence. So these still carry into due diligence. They're just kind of part of what I call pre-due diligence. I don't know if anyone else does that or calls it that, but maybe I made something up. I don't know. Now the next thing would be to do a property survey. So have a topographer come out and do, have the topographer come out. So that he should come out and do a survey to make sure that the lines are correct and the lines are within where they said they're supposed to be. Another part of the due diligence will be they're going to, when you see the tax status assessment. Gosh, I really am not good at writing today. Sorry, bear with me. Okay, so tax status assessment. That means you want to see that the property is up to date on all the taxes. So the owner is going to have to provide a letter stating that from the municipality, the local municipality, showing that the property is up to date on the taxes. So that's a good one. All right, next will be, okay, we already talked about uso del suelo. Okay, documents of the corporation. So this would be if the seller has the property under a corporation. So they're gonna wanna see like the, of corporation. That'll be like the persona jurídica, they're gonna wanna see that. So that'll be the, yeah, some documents of the corporation. They're gonna wanna see that the corporate taxes are up to date as well. So also, if, let's say, if the corporation is owned by more than one person who's selling the property, they will need to work it out within them. If both owners aren't going to be present at closing to sign the documents, then they're going to have paperwork done as well to make sure that one party is authorizing the other party to close on their behalf. Or, you know, that's kind of more complicated stuff, but nothing that you really need to worry about. Your lawyer will be making sure that they have this information. Okay, so we got the documents of the corporation. We have, you know, you also want, they're going to want a certification showing that the property is declared with the municipality. So that means that the property value is declared with the municipality. Okay, so here, you know, we have like our, we're going to make sure our property, you know, value is declared with the municipality. And the last one will be if the property is in a gated community that has an HOA, they're going to want to see that the HOA quotas, like the person is up to date on their HOA payments. So they need, you know, they need a letter from HOA. OA, sorry, that's like a terrible H. I'm not doing good with this. Okay, please excuse all my handwriting on the iPad. So again, the last two we have, you need a letter from the HOA showing that the property payments are up to date with the HOA. The other one will be the regulations of the HOA as well. So they're going to want to see that. If the property, this would be if it's a lot, if the lot is in the HOA, or if the house is inside of an HOA, like mine is. Okay, so now what we're going to do, again, you should be working with a lawyer to make sure, like your lawyer will tell you what these are. Some of these you may have no idea. You're like, what do you mean the property value is declared with the municipality? Your lawyer should know all this. They should be checking all this. This is, again, just for you to get a good overview of the due diligence process. Now this is, we're going to kind of branch off and we're going to see kind of the differences between land and home. Land and home. Man, my handwriting is so bad. I'm so sorry. Please don't judge me. My handwriting is usually not that bad. It's just the iPad. Okay, so now we have some differences. Now, I would say the difference here, land would be just land, no home, or things that are under our land category would matter if you're buying a home that has additional property that you might want to expand or construct or do something. So think of it like this, you know, or so land or home plus, you know, land, like land that you want to do something with. Oh, whoops, that doesn't even show there, so whatever. You get what I mean. Just remember what I'm saying. Okay, so we have land. You're going to need soil test. That would be something within the due diligence. That's what we did for our lots. You're going to want to see that the zoning and use compliance. I will explain that. In land use. So you're going to want to know if you are doing something residential. Let's say if you wanted to have a residential property that also you had a business on, it would need to be a mixed zoning. It would have to be residential and commercial property. But what if it's only residential? Then you can't do your commercial thing on that property. So this is where you need to really have an idea of what you want to do with that piece of land prior to, you know, purchasing it, so that you know what kind of zoning you want to be looking out for. That would be something actually I would throw into the pre-due diligence category. Because again, if you know that you want to, I don't know, have your residence, I don't know, I'm just trying to give examples. I've seen so many examples. Maybe you'll see a mechanic who has their mechanic shop there, but then they live right behind it. So maybe that's mixed. So they're able to live on the property where their business is. So I would do that. Actually, that should go in pre-due diligence if you're trying to do something like that. Most of you that I know are looking for residential. So that's fine. Just making sure it's not residential. I mean, making sure it is residential and just not purely commercial. That would be very important. If it's a purely commercial lot, then you can't put anything residential there. Okay, and then we want to see that the utilities are available. utilities are available. You're like, utilities are available. What does that mean? That would mean that there, again, like you can get water. You do have the electricity, like we kind of talked about. Don't just listen to someone who's like, no, you can dig a well and then you can build like a month later, because that's not going to, it's going to take more than a month. And there's also restrictions on what lots can have wells drilled on them and everything. Or they're, the person who says, oh, the electricity's just down the road, don't worry, they're going to bring it up next year, or you can bring it up on your own, it's not that expensive. Look into all that. I'm not saying don't buy lots who don't have these things, but make sure if you are going to buy a lot that doesn't have those things, you need to be fully aware as to what you're getting yourself into and what costs you're going to incur and what time it's going to take for you to get those services there. So that would be my biggest advice. Okay, so then for a home, this is whenever you'd be doing your inspection. And these are things that you're usually going to be paying for: the inspection, the topographer. An inspection could be $400, $500, $600. Topographer, I think one that just did our neighborhood was $300. You want to see, they're going to want to see that the utilities are paid. So last payments on utilities, because you don't want to buy a house and the electricity is out of date and it's been shut off and it's like 6 months late on its bills or something crazy. Well, actually, it would have been shut off anyways. But last payments on utilities, very common. Okay, and then we have construction permits. Okay, I'm running out of space. And blueprints, and that's our last one. Blueprints. Okay, so see, there's a little bit of difference. So if you're just buying a home, these are your other items that you're going to be looking at. If you're buying a home that has some additional space that you'd want to build, then I would include the due diligence, obviously, for the land. Well, your utilities, you're going to know if the utilities are available, with the stuff with the home. So that's not really going to be an issue. But I would do the soil test, look at the actual land use and zoning, and actually do that in the pre-due diligence before you even put in an offer. Because again, you don't want to be putting in an offer on a commercial property if you want to be able to build a residence there. That doesn't make any sense. And then for the home, like I said, that's when your inspection, last in payments, construction permits, blueprints, all that stuff. And your attorney, again, will be guiding you on all of this. This is just for you to get an idea. I'm just educating you, giving you a heads up. Your attorney may request something else. Like there might be something additional that your attorney wants to request for your due diligence process from the owner. So just keep that in mind. This is just to give you a heads up. I think this list is pretty comprehensive. But if it is missing something, it might be missing something. Again, that's why you're working with an attorney on this stuff as well. What else? Well, I guess that's it. So yeah, we're already 20 minutes in. Actually, I thought this video was going to end up being a lot longer, so I'm really glad. I think I was able to consolidate that pretty well. I want to thank you guys again for being here on the channel. If you thought that this was helpful, please give it a like, because it does help get this content out there to other people that need to hear it or that want to hear it. Also, make sure you're subscribed if you are, interested in moving to Costa Rica, thinking about coming down on a scouting trip. There are different links down in the description. Again, I have a podcast, which is amazing, with me and my bestie, Heido. We have a really good time on that. So that's free information for you. Lots of free information here on this channel. But if you want help, that's when you can look at booking a call and we can talk about, your situation, but also talk about the one-on-one services that we offer with relocation, with scouting trips. I have a DIY Move to Costa Rica, e-course that you're welcome to look into as well. And we got our in-person retreats. We got another one coming up. Really excited. If you like this kind of information, if you like getting real detailed and digging in, that's what we do during that week as well. And yeah, so thanks again, and I will see you guys in the next video.